historic 14th FA Cup triumph, and only 4 days before the Gunners return to Wembley for the Community Shield, Mikel Arteta's side are back in action for a first summer friendly as the North Londoners travel up the M1 to face League One team Milton Keynes Dons. Quick turnaround between seasons was always on the cards for Arsenal given the extraordinary 1920 campaign. But after a transitional term, Arteta will want his charges to get back up to speed as quickly as possible and hit the ground running when the Premier League kicks off a fortnight on Saturday. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, of course, was key to the Gunners' FA Cup success, and perhaps that win glossed over a number of issues in their squad. And there is no doubt that Arteta is under no illusion about the task he has at the Emirates Stadium. And that's to return Arsenal to the top of the English game. And of course a return to the Champions League has to be one of the key ambitions this forthcoming season. As for MK Dons, who we are awaiting to emerge from the tunnel at the moment here at MK Stadium, like Arsenal, they also changed manager mid-term last campaign, with Russell Martin hanging up his boots to take over in the dugout from Paul Tisdale. The former Norwich defender steadied the ship a little, but they finished dangerously close to the relegation zone in League One, slipping a place to 19th due to the points per game system employed to determine finishing positions in the third tier of English football. Flirting with the bottom four cannot be on the agenda again for a club that did play in the Championship as recently as 2016. Mikel Arteta looking relaxed on the sidelines here, but he knows with the season just around the corner that these players on show have to get up to speed very, very quickly. You are with Dan Roebuck and David Hillier for this pre-season friendly, and no real surprise, David, that a number of the senior stars are on show here with the season just around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. It was no surprise. I mean, maybe Oba was probably a big surprise because of having such a great contribution in the final. You would have thought he'd want to have maybe a rest or a couple of weeks off, but just shows the intentions of the manager. And like you were saying, you've got to keep 4 or 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 players of your main squad fit, ready to go. A couple can probably be afforded to be rested and rotated a little bit, but it's important to get off on the right foot, and tonight's game is a great start, and it's lovely to be in a stadium as well watching a football match then.
No doubt about that. No supporters unfortunately, but let's check out the teams for you. MK Dons include summer signings Daniel Harvey and Warren O'Hora in their starting lineup. Harvey moved from Scottish Championship side Ayr, while O'Hora is on loan from Brighton and a former Ireland under-19 international. There's no place for Richard Keogh, who is injured, but there is experience in the shape of Dean Lewington and Jordan Houghton, who played at the Emirates for Doncaster against Arsenal in the League Cup some 3 years ago. As for the Gunners, they welcome back Bernd Leno for a first start since a knee injury curtailed his season, of course, at Brighton in June. And there's a first look at William Saliba in Arsenal colours, having come back from Saint-Etienne, and Mohamed El-Neni also returned to the club after his loan spell in Turkey. It is strong from the Gunners from the off, there is no doubt about that, and they are expected to win here, obviously. But as Dean Lewington shake hands with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and our referee Dean Whitestone is about to get this game underway, I'm sure that the League One side will be hoping to just put Arsenal through their paces. Of course, the League One season starts the same weekend as the Premier League campaign. But MK Dons too have, in also a small matter, of a League Cup game ahead of their league season getting underway. We are about to start here at MK Stadium. It is MK Dons against Arsenal, a pre-season friendly and a first chance for the Gunners post FA Cup final win to strut their stuff, and it'd be interesting to see the likes of Saliba at the back, likewise Mohamed El-Neni returning, and great also from an Arsenal point of view, David, to see Bernd Leno fit and well, and he's got a real fight on his hands for that number 1 jersey along with Emi Martinez.
Absolutely. I mean, Martinez has been fantastic when he came in, and it's probably the worst thing for Bernd Leno, after being such a great stopper for Arsenal, keeping them in the position they was in many a game, to lose out and get an injury, and then the player comes in and starts playing superb. It was a blow for him, but listen, that's what competition's about, and the manager will be happy with that. That's why he's got so many young players in the squad tonight. He wants to create competition. He wants to push the regular first-team squad players. And again, it's good to even see Elneny back. You know, he's pulling people back from on loan to get involved in the squad, make that squad bigger and stronger, because they're going to have to cope with a fair bit. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
Arsenal looking to make progress over on this right-hand side. I wondered how Arsenal might line up as we focus on Bukayo Saka, who, of course, didn't start the FA Cup final, had such a breakout campaign though last season, assist after assist for the Gunners, 12 all told in all competitions. Does look like it will be a back three with wing-back Cedric on that right-hand side and Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who's been linked with a move away from the club but who starred in not just the FA Cup final but the semi-final as well as that left wing-back position. We know that he wants to play central midfield, but he's a versatile and talented performer.
He is, and you know, the manager's had a couple of options there. He's had Said Kolasinac. I know Said's had a couple of injuries, but like the previous manager before as well, there's been sort of a lot of chopping and changing in that left full-back position, and we saw Tierney come in and I thought, you know, he's the man, he's a left-back all day long, but Mikel Arteta's having a little tweak of it and playing him on the left-hand side of three. I believe he did it in the cup final as well for part of the game, and it just shows you it's a very fluid defence at the moment.
Saliba towards Elneny, cleared away by Cedric. That's a decent block though. And ricochets out to this near side. There'll be an awful lot of focus on Arsenal's new number 4, William Saliba. Signed, of course, the summer before this, loaned back out to Saint-Etienne. Had 1 or 2 injury problems with the French side. Was not a regular. Didn't play in the French Cup final, which was after the lockdown was lifted. But of course, the French league season was not completed. Did play in the Cup semi-final, and very highly rated junior French international. Let's see what MK Dons can do here though, with Thompson to play it over to the right hand side. Dean Lewington, who's got plenty of experience, the 36-year-old, and all the way back to the keeper Lee Nichols, right-footed to this left hand side. Referee's going to intervene here. Offside flag is up on the far side.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to push right onto Arsenal. MK Dons, you know, like I said, it's a pre-season game. It's about fitness. It's about getting in the groove. And they've already played a few games. You can see that the way their team's set up. They're moving well across the pitch. They're covering each other well. Got good shape. I just wonder whether it's a bit risky playing 4 at the back with Arsenal, because you need that midfield flooded really to cope with it. At the moment, Arsenal just trying to go down the sides though.
Here is Cedric, permanent transfer after the loan spell from Southampton, and Elneny, who was a regular for Besiktas last campaign, played in the Europa League as well for the Turkish side, was on the wrong end of home and away defeats at the hands of Wolves. Meanwhile, the flag is up again as Arsenal look to break forward with Maitland-Niles on that left-hand side.
Yeah, it's a good break down the left-hand side. Just Maitland-Niles just needs to hold his run a little bit. But it was Tierney from the left side of the 3 central defenders that made the first move forward and drew out the defenders from MK Dons to open that space up. Just a little bit of a timing issue with the run though, but very good run from Maitland-Niles. And we saw him doing that in the final, Dan, you know, up and down that left-hand side. Great skills. He put in some lovely crosses early on as well. And as you said, he's... Oh,
here's an opportunity. Brilliantly taken. How about that? Well, a wonderful hit from Elneny as the goalkeeper was in no man's land, and that's what he is capable of. Cool and composed as the forward pass went astray. First time from the Egyptian into the corner.
Yeah, you can see the keeper there. He's trying to play the ball into one of his central defenders, I think, and he's completely missed the target. Elneny, though, sharp to respond, and it's a good strike, you know, and that's what the game's about, taking your opportunities. He'll be delighted with that, though, and he's got Arsenal off to a good start.
We know what a good player he can be. He scored that wonderful goal against Barcelona a few years ago. Did score once in the Turkish top flight last campaign, netted against the Beliki in his final match for them in July. The Turkish league did resume, and Mohamed Elneny did play right up until the end of last month. So fit and firing and wanting to impress Mikel Arteta, no doubt. Here he is again, the Egyptian. Now it's with Cedric Soares. Neat touch from the former Sporting man and Portuguese international, European Championship winner, of course. Here is Leno. Now Cedric once more. It's a little hurried, better pressure from MK Dons, but the amount of players we've got in MK Dons colours putting pressure on that Arsenal backline makes you think that Arsenal might be able to go over the top a little easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once the first 10-15 minutes, you know, they're running out, not out of steam, but sort of dropping half a yard off, and Arsenal get that tiny bit of space, as there is now in the middle.
Nketiah finds Saka, Aubameyang left-hand side. Saka on this right flank, can he get the cross in? It's a good block initially. We'll have another go, the youngster. Here is El Neni to curl towards Aubameyang, who can take it down. He's in acres of space, looks to chip it back for Nketiah. Xhaka can't take it, and then he's going to have another go. Here is Cedric to curl back in. MK Dons just struggling to clear their lines a little. Kasumu to do that. That should be comfortable for Holding and Tierney to knock it back to Lena.
Yeah, I think Pierre Aubameyang was a little bit kind there. I think he was being a bit easy on MK Dons. I think he had an opportunity to sweep that and take a first-time shot. But Arsenal, as you said, Dan, with MK Dons pressing so hard into Arsenal's back four, sending 4 or 5 players, they're leaving that opportunity for Arsenal to break down through the middle and attack them on the break and really kill them with pace. So they've got to be careful.
Cedric seeing plenty of the ball in the opening exchanges. You mentioned those friendlies for MK Dons. They have been busy. They drew 2-2 with Cambridge, then won a piece with Stevenage before being thumped at Norwich in a 6-0 defeat. And then last time out, just at the weekend, they were beaten at home by Coventry, who they play incidentally on the 5th of September in the League Cup round 1. So it should be a little fitter, but remember the trialist played in the previous game, and in fact the manager, Russell Martin, also put the boots back on for the last game, so they were a little short, and he knows that 1 or 2 signings that have come in are out injured as well. This is Tierney down the left-hand side, it's towards Nketiah, cleared away. It's Houghton that goes down, and a free kick to MK Dons.
Yeah, you've got to give MK Dons credit. Houghton there trying to receive the ball, centre midfield. They have had several opportunities to clear it, hit it long, but they're not. They're trying to play their way out, which I think was kind of where the goal came about. You know, they're working on things obviously pre-season, and you know, Nichols in goal. He's obviously been told to try and find his midfield player with a ball to feet as much as he can, and he was just, I think he was just forcing that one little pass. But they are trying to play football. It just worries me that when the quality is not there and it breaks down in these defensive areas for them, that Arsenal will, you know, take control of the game and get goal after goal. But they're holding up well at the moment.
Time to settle for MK Dons potentially here. Ahora on the left-hand side will play it forward. Diverted back by Carlton Morris. No way through over on that right-hand side. 19th in League One in the end last season. 2 places, 5 points above the relegation zone when football ended. Out of the FA Cup in the first round against Port Vale. They were beaten by Liverpool, you might recall, a very youthful Liverpool side here in the League Cup in round 3. Didn't have the best of times in cup competitions. Russell Martin, who took over from Paul Tisdale and steadied the ship a little, was in a Norwich side that once defeated Arsenal in the Premier League a good few years ago now. Mikel Arteta played in the game in the dugout together today. Here is Saka, Nketiah with a shot. Oh, that's brilliantly done by the youngster. Wonderful break once more. And you do sense that the young players in particular will want to try and fill their boots here. And that's a slick finish from a young man who burst onto the scene a couple of years ago. He discovered his form after a spell at Leeds and was a very, very good contributor to Arsenal's campaign the back end of the season.
Yeah, there's great vision as well from Saka right at the end there, just to cut it back to him. You know, it started off at the back with Saliba, getting the ball nice and early, getting it wide to Cedric. You know, it was all pacey, it was all quick for Arsenal, and the end pass from Cedric was lovely. It was well weighted, and the finish from Nketiah, as you said, Dan, you know, classy and crisp, and puts Arsenal 2-0 in front.
So Nketiah on the score sheet, a couple in the Premier League last campaign, wading with some key goals in the FA Cup as well, against Portsmouth and against Bournemouth en route to the Wembley final. Interesting that It looked like he was going to go out on loan at one stage when he came back from Leeds, but Mikel Arteta, who was new back to the club, of course, decided to have a look at him, wanted to keep him with the side, and on the odd occasion was preferred to the likes of Alex Lacazette. And hopefully, from an Arsenal point of view, his progression will continue this season.
Yeah, and I think his teammates, you know, that he grew up with through the academy and through the youth team, especially Bukayo Saka, was doing so well in the side as well. I think he's probably looking at that and saying, I really want to make it work at this club. I've got a manager here that's giving the opportunities to the young players. And you don't want to leave Arsenal. Once you leave Arsenal, there's nothing as big for nearly every player that goes. So it was a great decision for him to stay. And looking forward, especially with the way the transfer market is and how difficult it is to get these young players now, because the big clubs snap them up. You've got to keep your little gems, and you've got to, just for that extra couple of seasons, and hope that they blossom while they're in your care.
He's a goal-getter. There is no doubt about that. This is Cedric to knock it forward. El Neni just catches Lewis Thompson, who goes down. Alone again this season from Norwich. Played in the Championship with Norwich a few years ago. Thompson felled. Here is Lewington, who's been a MK Dons for a long time. Former Wimbledon player, of course, and to MK. Bags of experience at this level. He's still very much a key member of the side. Played some 33 times in League One last campaign. Catcher might be on this one again. Lewington was struggling just a little.
Yeah, he was maybe a little bit for pace, but his reading of the game, he got in a decent position, enough to get a challenge in, and he's up against a tasty young player, you've got to say. And as you mentioned, he's not in his earliest years, and he's got some experience though, and that'll stand him in good stead. But it's definitely an issue with pace already at the start of this game. A few times we've seen the MK Dons players just a yard off, and Arsenal take advantage of it.
Chiko, of course, to come in, another veteran player, but of course was a key part of the Derby side before being sacked by Derby. Of course, that appeal is ongoing, we believe. Being involved in that car crash, a serious knee injury kept him out. He is at the stadium today, but he's not in the squad. He's Morris to try and turn it back. Now it's with Harvey. Sign from Ayr. Started life out at Aberdeen. Scottish under-21 international, and an interesting capture for a third-tier side in England to take. Game has just settled down a little bit. Arsenal maybe just taking the foot off the gas somewhat. Two well-taken goals. And I guess, David, at the level that MK Dons are at, that is the difference. It's an obvious thing to say, but when the ball spills to a midfielder in League One, it might not go into the net.
Yeah.
And likewise, when you get two young players combining down the wing, that might not end up as a goal either at that level.
Yeah, I think it's it's all about technical levels, and that's why we've got leagues, and that's why there's different players in different leagues, because you're playing at your level. Yes, there are some that can go and play in other levels, but you mentioned just a couple of those balls into the midfield. I think Jordan Houghton, he's been great for MK Dons, but if you look at him when he takes a first touch, it's a yard, maybe a yard and a half away from him when he's got to move to get it to make his play or get his second touch on the ball. With Arsenal, it's really tight with them. They know exactly where the pass is going, and that little bit of quality just gives Arsenal the edge, in tight situations. And the fact that MK Dons are playing with so much width at times, with this 4-4-2 system, they've got long distances to run to try and cover and close the holes down that Arsenal are trying to exploit between the lines. So they've made it difficult for themselves, but it's a pre-season game, and and they're playing Arsenal, so you've got to go out and try everything, haven't you?
Harvey brought down, edge of the penalty area. Good run from the fullback, and a free kick here for MK Dons. Good combination play and industry here from the new signing. Felled eventually, and here's an opportunity for the hosts. So, fancy taking this one on. But Leno organises his defenders. Plenty up from the back. Regan Paul waits. Amy Cargill. There's Thompson also. It's going to be curled in by Jordan Houghton. going to drive one in, and Leno makes a comfortable save. Nice idea, the execution not quite off.
Yeah, I think the execution, not to disagree with you too much, was spot on, because Cargill was darting across the front, and I think the idea from that free kick, which they obviously practiced pre-season, yeah, just to get a little touch. He got in the right area. The ball was really well delivered, hard and low. Very difficult for Leno if any touch is received on the ball, and it weren't too bad a free kick for me.
I'll take it all back. Out on the player who played against Arsenal at Doncaster. Doncaster beaten 1-0, gave a really good account of themselves at the Emirates a few years ago. Theo Walcott got the only goal of the game. Holding played. Chambers still at the club did. Reece Nelson, it was his first start. Maitland-Niles started as well. And for Joe Willock, it was his first ever appearance for Arsenal. Plenty of the youngsters that were in and around League Cup squads then now beginning to make their mark in the first team. Xhaka, Saliba, Saliba of course was always going to come back to Arsenal. That loan agreement after he signed was part of the deal, but there is an awful lot of talk about another player from French football coming to aid the Gunners' defence. Gabriel Magalhaes may well be on his way. I haven't seen him at MK Dons Stadium today, though, I can tell you that much. Might be here. Sal Nenny on Houghton. Speaking of central defensive prowess, Lewington showing what he can do here, perfectly timed.
Yeah, it's again another perfectly timed challenge. And what he does is he allows the other central defender to drop off him. He knows he's got cover, and then as soon as he sees he's got the cover on, he can go and make the challenge. He's not just diving in. As I said, he makes good decisions. What he lacks in probably pace, he makes up for with thought. He looks very tidy. Good decision making with his passing too.
Thompson now breaking forward for MK Dons. Can he get the cross in? Saliba slides in, suggesting that it ricocheted back up off the MK Dons man, the young Frenchman.
There's a good take and turn from Louis Thompson there. Very direct play, and tested William Saliba's pace, but Saliba was up for it. It's another opportunity, I think, for clubs like MK Dons, and the way they play their football. These set pieces are so important. Russell Martin would have put them through the drill hundreds of times in the last few weeks, trying to get these set pieces right.
Opportunity for MK Dons, far post. And the first header Arsenal, the second, and the flag is up on the far side. And Arsenal look to counter immediately. Will that bounce away from Tierney and go out of play? He's done well to keep it in. It's an ambitious ball back towards Aubameyang. Cedric might pick this one up, and as far as Nichols is concerned, anywhere will do. He's going to have to race back to his 6-yard box here. Cedric takes it quickly, but Arsenal can't take advantage.
No, it was a decent initial break, wasn't it, down the left-hand side. Tierney had no option to try and knock that ball off to Pierre Aubameyang, but Pierre had held and checked his run instead of going forward. But Arsenal again quick on the other side to retain possession with Saliba again.
Liverpool next up for the Gunners in the Community Shield, and then the season starting with the away fixture at Fulham. Gunners slipping, of course, to 8th in the Premier League last campaign. Disappointing Premier League season when you consider the chances that Arsenal had post-lockdown and just before the pandemic pause to catch the top four, and the way that results seem to slip away from Mikel Arteta's side. And I still think he believes that maybe Arsenal could have grabbed a Champions League spot. As it is, European football will be played at Emirates this season courtesy of that FA Cup win. It was that or nothing for inclusion in the Europa League, and of course it means that they go straight into the group stages, and a byproduct of that is that Spurs' season starts a little bit earlier with qualifiers in the Europa League.
You say that with a wry smile on your face, Dan, like almost as if every cloud has a silver lining, and it does. This cloud had a red lining though. Yeah, I think Arsenal would have expected, in the position they was in at times, that a Champions League place was there for the taking, but it did drift away with some poor results at times, and then some fantastic results when you look at Liverpool and beating Man City in the semi-final. You know, at the end of the day, you look at what they came out of it with, then there's no damage done from being 8th now, because they've got their Europa League, and that's where the start we're at for this oncoming season, and that's what Mikel Arteta is building this squad to win and to do as well as he can in the Premier League.
Harvey looking to come forward again. It's combined well with Thompson on this left-hand side. Carlton Morris has been involved as well, on loan from Norwich last season, made just 9 starts on loan again this season, scored against Rochdale back in January. Long spells across the lower leagues and in Scotland briefly for the 24-year-old. Xhaka. And time to take it down. Maitland-Niles is on the move, and Ketcher wants it through the centre. Saka in an advanced position as well, comfortably defended though. MK Dons will look to try and counter themselves. Helping over to that right hand side. A touch from Nombe. No way forward. Arsenal regroup. Defensive discipline is good, and that has been key in Mikel Arteta's reign. Might not create as many chances, but defensively much better. Cut his cloth accordingly with back 3, moving to a back 4 occasionally. Very adaptable. Once he gets all the players that he wants, I just wonder what system he might settle on, because he was very much default 4-2-3-1, you felt maybe. But needs must, I think, with the defenders that he's got at his disposal at the moment, and that could change between now and the end of the season, but it's good to have that versatility and adaptability and tactical now, so the players are comfortable with changing mid-game if need be.
Yeah, I think ideally, yeah, I think the 4 at the back would suit his system better, because he could effectively play with 2 central defenders and let his fullbacks push on a lot of the time, and then have more offensively. But in recent times, yes, there is a sort of maybe a slight confidence issue across the centre of defence for Arsenal when they play with 2. So he's going with the 3 all the time. He's playing different types of 3, some more solid central defenders and others like Tierney, who will want to creep forward and crawl forward. And we've already seen it from Saliba today. You know, Holding looks like the only one who's your out-and-out old-fashioned centre-half. So he is tinkering with that. But I think ideally he'd want as few people defending as possible, so that he can really improve Arsenal's offensive play, because that's probably his next stage to address. We saw him get back on shape there. We see them regroup, get back to a really tight shape, you know, really good, really close, but that's only the start of football. You've got to go and score goals at the other end. It's when you explode and become a forward playing team.
Running repairs, 1 or 2 of the MK Dons players, it would appear here. Maybe a change of boots for a couple of them as well. Willie Thompson, one of them. And hydration break as well here. You can see that the MK Dons players are taking on some fluids, and the Arsenal players are coming towards the sidelines as well. And this is where Mikel Arteta has been excellent as well. Obviously this is a friendly, but post-lockdown, once the lockdown was lifted, yeah, tactically he was brilliant, wasn't he, with the change?
Yeah, he's on it. He uses this 30 seconds minute. He goes around the players individually. You know, he has words with them. Probably not so much tonight, as we can see, but it was so apparent in the cup final, especially him and Frank Lampard. You could see 2 young managers sort of really vivacious and really sort of animated and wanting to get into every player. And look, he's there again. He's directing individually and as a group, and this ain't just any old game for him.
Mentioned when Arteta came up against Russell Martin when there were players, and Russell Martin's team came out on top Norwich in a 1-0 win at Carrow Road. Emi Martinez was on the bench that day. Serge Gnabry was as well. I wonder what ever happened to him.
Another Rice Mile, Dan. You've got to say, Dan, you've got that off to a tee. I know exactly what you're thinking. I know what happened to him. He just evolved into the player that he always was.
Trace. Look, some players develop a little bit later, we know that. There's a whole storyline of players over the years that didn't make it at one club that go elsewhere and become superstars.
Imagine all of those coaches that looked in at Ian Wright in London back in the late 70s, early 80s, when, you know, he was developing as the player and said, no, he probably won't make it, he won't make it, he won't make it. It's just, you know, timing and someone taking a chance.
He's got their attention, hasn't he? He's so well respected as a player. He was very well respected. I think everybody knew that he was going to go into management, whether it was going to be Arsenal first. Or he's taken his opportunity so well. I mean, to win the FA Cup in the first, not even full season. How well has he done to not reshape the whole squad just yet, but in terms of attitude, that has
Absolutely.
really changed.
Yeah, he's definitely got the players, and he's actively said that, you know, he wants players that are of the right mindset. You know, and he's getting that with his young players, Dan, and I think that's why half of them are still there and still involved and feel they've got a chance. And some of the experienced players are taking it on board now, and they're getting their mindset right too.
We restart with an Arsenal free kick. Saka will leave it. Cedric with an outswinger and full towards Tierney on that left-hand side. Can he flick it back inside the box? Cleared away by Harvey Elneny, and then thumped further away by Thompson as MK Dons come racing out, and Leno is way outside of his penalty area, but under no real pressure.
You've got to say, I actually thought Leno was winding up for the really big, I'm going to head it 40 yards here, and he done a cheeky little pass, didn't he? A lovely little touch.
Will he play the first Premier League game of the season, do you think, Bernd Leno?
It's a difficult one to call, isn't it? Because, you know, he's being fed back into the side now, but Emmy's done so well in goal for Arsenal. You know, from second one, as I said earlier, I don't know, it's a tough one to call.
It's almost sort of joint number ones, you would suggest. You get your gloves, you get the gloves, you keep them, and then you see what happens after that. That's
yeah. I mean, it's a bit like Debussy when he joined Arsenal, didn't he, as right back. Started off a couple of games, he was brilliant. All of a sudden, got an injury, and this young lad called Hector Bellerin, no one had really seen him or knew much about him, came in and stole all of Debussy's Arsenal career, really, didn't he? He took it away. I wouldn't say stole it. He stepped in and took it for himself, and that's the game we're playing.
Saka a little sore, but he's not as in trouble as the MK Dons man who's on the deck, who I can't quite see at the moment. Needs a little bit of treatment. Speaking of the Spanish fullback, incidentally, missing today, not in the squad, the likes of Lacazette and Pepe, Luis Torreira, Socrates, Willian, of course, new signing. All absent from the squad, but still an awful lot of first teamers. That will change, no doubt, in the second half. We might get two completely different sides between first half and second half, but there are some exciting youngsters to look at from an Arsenal point of view, and one or two interesting players from MK Dons as well, potentially in that second half when the changes inevitably come. Saka still not 100%. It's the odd game with minor worries and injuries last season. Still managed to play 26 times in the Premier League as a teenager. It's not bad, is it?
No, he did well, and you know, when he started off, it was sort of at 70 minutes he'd fade, 75 minutes and he'd be subbed, but we saw him grow and grow and grow, didn't we, from a stamina point of view, and last much better. I'm sure he'll be able to run that one off. I'm not so sure about that though.
Well, this doesn't look good at all, does it? Because treatment has been given, but the decision surely with the coach here has got to take him off. He's in real pain at the minute. So Martin across to just speak with his player here. And looks like he's going to have to make the change. And against a Premier League club, when you want to try your best, even though it's just a friendly, this is going to hurt mentally as well as physically, one suspects, because he's not going to have the opportunity to impress from here on in.
No, that looks like an ankle twist as well, Dan. You know, and you can see it about injuries. Well, it could be 2 or 3 weeks. You know, any luck, and he's back on. He'll be getting treatment straight away on that. It's a shame though to be going out of the game after only half an hour.
Kasumo will play the ball forward. Here is Lewington. It's a nice spin. Xhaka caught for a second. MK Dons coming forward, and the spin was from the substitute Callum Britton. Oh, that's fantastic. How about that? Well bowling.
Well, I think that's just the finish they was looking for from that free kick earlier on. Just a little touch like that. Yeah, he's diving as well, so it's made it look even better. It's not a great ball in, is it? It's not really going anywhere. Arsenal got enough cover.
Just have a look at this again, holding on the floor. Curled into the top corner off the top of the centre half's head.
It's amazing. I don't think that will be given to Regan Poole, though. I think that will definitely be an own goal. Very little Leno could do about that.
Well, MK Dons redress the balance. Unbelievable own goal. Arsenal lead by 2-1. And confirmation of the change there as well. Thompson, the player, sustained the injury.
It's a shame for Thompson, because him and Houghton in that central midfield were doing okay. They was working hard, you know, they was on the ball for their side, they was doing well. But to get that blow, especially as a midfielder, you know, an ankle injury when you're twisting and turning, it's going to be a couple of sore weeks for him.
So MK Dons have pulled the goal back. Arsenal want to try and nudge ahead by 2 once again. It's been played at a fair tempo, I would suggest here. Both sides look relatively fit. Of course, Arsenal's season didn't finish too long ago. They don't look as heavy-legged as you might imagine after a summer off.
No, they don't. And that last attack there was, you know, it was sharp. And you see Tierney making a 25, 30-yard run from basically a central defence position, 10 yards advanced into the opponent's half, into the opponent's box, because he saw a pace. So, yeah, Arsenal, you know, really up for this game as far as making runs and putting in the effort goes. There's definitely no fatigue to be visibly seen in the players at the moment.
Nichols goes long. Aubameyang tries to take it down. Touch now from Houghton. All the way back towards Lee Nichols once more. MK Dons 1, Arsenal 2, the scoreline here. 33 minutes on the clock. Good work out for both teams, this. Oh, Saka just caught as he intercepted.
That's just the difference, isn't it, Dan? It's the difference between League One and Premier League. I mean, in the Premier League, I don't think that decision would have been made by the defender. He'd have probably sat off and been more comfortable. And if Saka gets there just before him, he's dead in the water, you know, and just a little difference in quality, in decision-making and technical ability. But at the moment, Dons are still in it, really, at 2-1.
So, free kick for Arsenal. Saka will leave it. Driven in by Suarez. It ricochets around. Aubameyang just hit the shin, ricocheted away.
He was unusually uncomposed there, wasn't he? Normally, he's really aware that would have been a one-touch finish or flick in the net. But he's sort of flitted in and out of this first half. He's not really got going. So maybe he's just not in the groove at the moment. But it was a good chance for Aubameyang then.
Well, he doesn't miss too many, does he? Extraordinary season last campaign, culminating in the 2 in the FA Cup. Here it is again. He had an opportunity to control, or at least get the left-footed shot away.
Yeah, I think in every other circumstance we've seen him, he would have made the decision already. But as that ball was bouncing down first time coming towards him, and just then he hadn't really decided. He caught in two minds whether to control it or take it first time.
Down the line initially by O'Hora. Touch from Morris. And back with Lewington. MK Dons have steadied themselves after an uneasy opening against Arsenal, conceding those 2 goals in double quick fashion. The own goal has given them a little bit of a hope of a friendly upset here. Aubameyang has got Maitland-Niles racing forward. Aubameyang wants to take it himself. Caught just as he's about to pull the trigger, I think. That's a free kick.
Yeah, 7 or 8 yards out. He attacked. It's the first time he's really burst into any sort of pace. He's gone straight. Good first touch, cut inside. runs at the MK Dons centre players. And yes, I think it's a little tug on him maybe there by Warren O'Hara, but it's given anyway. It's a decent position for Arsenal to maybe have a strike on target. I wonder if it'll be Cedric. He scored on his debut, didn't he? We saw him score that fantastic goal against Norwich.
Yeah, brilliant goal.
No, he's walked away from that one. He doesn't want to put this one in on his... make it 2 out of 2.
Well, the likes of Pepe, David Luiz and Alex Lacazette might be lining up for this one, but all not here, so Aubameyang gets to have a crack potentially. The skipper pulls rank, although Saka is close by if preferred. Aubameyang surely favourite to take this one on. Maybe you should have left it to the youngster.
Yeah, there was no good technique in that, was it? It was side foot. There was no follow through. It wasn't the David Luiz, I'm going to hit through the valve and knock the skin off the ball, make it move. It was I think it was a lofting wedge, that one, Dan.
Flicked on. This could be on the move here. Can he get there ahead of Maitland-Niles? He can, but the offside flag is up. The striker looks towards the assistant, but in truth, Maitland-Niles was making up ground hand over fist. He would have got goal side in a split second. Yeah,
he was, wasn't he? He was hunting him down super fast, but the initial flick from Morris almost caught Arsenal out, but it just shows you how he's developed, Ainsley, because he got in a position where he was, forward of hit the man he was marking, so he knew he was already offside. He was in a great position from a defender's point of view.
Elneny, he scored the opener. Here he is again. Xhaka. Tierney misses out. Holding to find Saliba. Down the line, hoping that Cedric can keep this one in play. Has he got the pace to get to the ball before the byline gobbles it up? He has, but the cross is comfortably claimed by Nichols, who will go long once again here. By underneath it. Tierney with a bit of work to do. From back to front and back again.
This is one position, Elneny. I'd like to see Arsenal dominating more in there. Those, Xhaka and Elneny with their experience should really be, playing the MK Dons central midfielders off the park. But Arsenal not gone through it much. We see them on the ball there, though. That's what they should be doing, getting the ball looking forward instead of just tickling it sideways, going back. It's a good opportunity for them as a central midfield partnership, to really work on opposition's midfield, get them running about, play a bit of football around them. But MK Dons are coping well with Arsenal in that middle area.
Here's a substitute, Britain looking to make something happen. Harvey. Britain once again. Kasuma makes a run edge of the penalty area, ignored for now. Lewington. Only scored more than twice in their last 11 league games, MK Dons. Don't expect them to get another against a Premier League side. Had a shocking run in the autumn, losing 10 of 11 games. Paul Tisdale was shown the door. Ended the campaign with just one win in the last 6. Before League One abruptly came to its early conclusion. Niles, I thought, timed the run fairly well.
Yeah, it was close. It was close. It was almost like the old Arsenal back four. I think it was Lewington with his arm up, calling for it, looking along the line, watching Maitland-Niles, stepping up on him. It's a good call from the referee's assistant, because it was very tight, that one, Dan.
Britain, who's neat and tidy since coming on as a substitute, was a regular last season. In his career at MK Dons, just a couple of appearances away from 100 in the league. He's made the move again, unlucky not to pick that one up first time around, and it's shuffled back for Leno. Lewington's header. Allowing him for Xhaka.
He has been busy since he come on, Callum Britton, and as you said there, he made a really, really well-timed run. He was only a foot away from picking up that pass.
Saka picks up the interception. Aubameyang to spin and shoot. Denied by Nichols.
Well, it's a nice turn. I don't think it was as clean as he wanted, but but there's a bit of the old Aubameyang, isn't it? A little trick and then to get his shot off. We see a ball from Saka into him nice and tight. He's so sharp. He gets on it even though it wasn't the greatest touch in the world. It was a nice turn, wasn't it? I think he would have liked it a little bit closer so that he could have then run the player. But he left it long enough so he could have that shot.
Arsenal have a corner. Aubameyang holding Saliba. Oh, wait. Xhaka on his toes as well, just inside the MK Dons penalty area. Driven towards that near post. Short showers doing good in this part of the world today. We've got another one at the moment. And then he down. Because Don the coat, as the rain cascades down around him, he'll be fairly happy with what he's seen so far. And goal's one of those things, spectacular as it was. But the finishes from Elneny and Nketiah would have pleased him.
I do think though, Dan, I think this rain's only going to help one side, and I think it will be Arsenal because they can zip it around on the surface. It's going to really test the touch of these MK Don players when it's zipped into them now, and if there's any loose touches, Arsenal will pounce on them.
Holding. We nudge towards the break, just 2.5 minutes until half-time here. Only kick-off for this friendly. Sure that would have been packed to the rafters if fans had been allowed in a year ago. Good stadium for football, and the big teams have come here, Liverpool and Manchester United in recent seasons in the League Cup. Plenty of noise made, but just the sounds of the coaches echoing around the stadium at the minute.
Yeah, it's a lovely stadium, Dan. I think it's good for the stadium that it's got the hotel and everything linked to it, so obviously it's supported well, you know, and it can still run as a business. You see so many good stadiums, don't you, not being able to pay the bills and cope. Ricoh Stadium was another great stadium, very similar. You know, you've got a lot of business enterprise around it and well supported in the community. But it's a great place to watch football. It could be a Premier League stadium easily. If you stuck 25,000 people in here, you wouldn't know much of a difference.
Maybe not Premier League football just yet, but Premier League darts on next door incidentally tonight. Here is Saliba. And it's with Holding, who arrowed one beyond his own keeper earlier. Tierney from Maitland-Niles only finds Lewington. Out and away initially. It's a free kick, MK Dons. I think they've recovered fairly well. They've tried to play football, put their passes together, going 2-0 down very early on to a Premier League club.
Yeah, as I said at the start of the game, you know, they've played a few more pre-season games, so they'll have that in the bank. You know, they'll be able to fall back on their system and regroup and get it back in. They won't be so worried by going down a goal. But you know, it's Arsenal. You don't expect not to concede chances against Arsenal, especially if your goalkeeper makes mistakes as Nichols did. But as you said, Dan, they've got over it. They've kept good shape. They've worked hard across the midfield. There's not been much opportunity up front for them. They haven't put the Arsenal defence under any real pressure, and it was Holding's OG that got them back in the game. But decent performance by both sides.
No added on time at the end of the 45 minutes here. Arsenal racing to a 2-goal advantage, courtesy of efforts from Elneny and Nketiah. And then a wonderful own goal, unfortunately, for Rob Holding, gave MK Dons one back. At the break at MK Stadium, it is MK Dons 1, Arsenal 2. interesting to see who makes the change, or should I say, which players come on over the course of this 45 minutes, because there are some talented youngsters coming through the Arsenal books. One or two have broken through already, of course, over the last 18 months, and one that maybe should have done is Emile Smith-Rowe. 1 or 2 injury issues, was out on loan at Huddersfield, of course, last season, did very well in the Championship, but has performed very well in pre-seasons previously for the Gunners, and maybe a player that can force his way into Mikel Arteta's first team plans over the course of this year. Changes afoot for the Gunners. We'll run through them very shortly for you. Quick check on the watch by our referee, Dean Whitestone. This second half underway. So second half begins with the Gunners leading by 2-1. Rob Holding own goal, spectacular header beyond Bernd Leno, giving MK Dons their strike. That was after Arsenal went 2 to the good, courtesy of a wonderfully well taken goal from Mohamed El-Neni after a mistake from the keeper Lee Nichols, and then Eddie Nketiah with a smart finish after Saka pulled back inside the area. So those are the goals so far. We expect more in this second half. Changes afoot, as we know. The players that have entered the fray for the Gunners: Emile Smith-Rowe, we've mentioned already. We've got Daniel Ballard on as well. Talaji Bola is another that's come on. Ballard and Bola incidentally are centre halves, so you'll see those two alongside Holding, either side of Holding at the moment. Smith-Rowe obviously plays a little bit further up the pitch. There is Talaji Bola, centre half, very highly rated at Arsenal. We'll see how he gets on. Played in the EFL Trophy last season for the under-23s against senior teams of the lower leagues, as a number of these youngsters did. What is at the feet of Don's keeper at the moment.
It's a good opportunity, Dan, for Rob Holding in between those two youngsters, just to show his experience and his maturity, guide them through, you know, talk them through the game, be a bit of a leader, have a nice little leader role in there.
Reece Nelson, incidentally, is another one that's come on and that has broken through over the course of the last few years. And that really good spell on loan at Hoffenheim, of course. Scored some crucial goals for Arsenal. Season just completed, including against Liverpool in an extraordinary win at the Emirates. Thought he looked very, very sharp after lockdown, Reece. I thought
yeah, he did.
Game management was excellent. I thought he was one of Arsenal's really good performers when we saw him.
Yeah, when he first burst on the scene, you thought, you know, out of all of the lads at the time, out of Eddie Nketiah, who was there at the time, Joe Willett was just sort of on the edge of it. He was the one I thought, you know, he's going to run away with this, but he didn't really come through. And then the position opened up for, as you mentioned, Emile Smith-Rowe, and he sort of came in and had a little sniff around it on the edge of the squad.
That's Daniel Ballard we're looking at, who was unlucky with injury last season, went on loan at Swindon, but a knee injury meant that he had to come back to Arsenal. Northern Ireland under-21 international with a centre half. Nelson looks to whip in, across comes shot, but it's just going to bounce away. That's one of the plethora of changes that we've seen at half-time for the Gunners, and more to come, you suspect. Just overhit on that occasion.
Yeah, it was good skill, wasn't it? And he took Cargill easily on there, went past him, but the cross was a bit over enthusiastic, put too much pace on it.
Throw in here to MK Dons. Joe Willock, the other player to come on, instantly of the 5. And Arsenal have changed for this second half. So young players with a little bit of experience in the first team. This is Lewington. Just got all the experience, of course. And now it's with Houghton breaking forward looks to try and find space on the left-hand side. Harvey has looked good. Kazuma will knock it back. Harvey once again. It's on his left side. Oh, the flag is up. That's a little unlucky. They were stretching to try and force that over the line. It was well worked. Just no end product, and the flag was up as players move a split second too soon.
Yeah, it was lovely skills, and the cross at the end, outside of the left foot, I believe, is this a little flick? Yeah, it's a lovely little flick, isn't it, to the far stick. Unlucky there. Good build up from MK Dons there. I think the problem comes down sometimes with multiple changes. You don't get that balance back in the side straight away, you know, that flow that you had in the first half, and it'd be a good opportunity for the Dons to press Arsenal early in this half. But I'm sure, as you said, we'll be seeing more and more changes, so the game will kind of evolve, but I hope that Arteta keeps the same shape. Sure he will.
Looks that way, doesn't it, with Tierney now playing wing back as opposed to one of the three centre halves as he did in the first period. Equally adept, of course, at either of those positions. I think we'll probably see more of him a wing back this season, given the centre halves that have come into Arsenal's squad.
Yeah, but I think it's always good to know that if at any time in a game, you know, someone's got a knock and you...
Xhaka, another poor mistake from Mikel. The flag is up here in Nketiah. He's offside, obviously.
He's just coming back, I think, Nketiah, and he's surprised that Xhaka's closed down so quickly.
He's got to go himself, hasn't he?
Yeah, he should have took it himself. I just wonder, we'll see on the replay whether he actually could have, or his first touch actually knocks it into Nketiah. But again, you know, MK Dons are still forcing the passes, aren't they, through that middle. It's something they need to get out of their game.
Again, looking to force the error, but there's space for Paul to come forward on the right-hand side, and there's players over here. Morris calling for it. Over to this right-hand side. Decent hit and into the near post, and it's turned away by Matt Macey.
Yeah, I think Nombe's got to do better here, Dan. It's a decent enough hit, but as a striker, you should be smashing this. He's kind of duffed it into the floor a little bit at the near post. Easy for Leno.
Macey.
Sorry, Macey. Yeah, I was just looking, thinking that's not Leno. Yeah, easy for Macey, that, and a nice introduction into the game rather than picking the ball out the back of the net.
Corner then to MK Dons. Whipped in, fair delivery, flicked away. Kazuma will take a touch and tries to curl it towards goal, but Macey watches it well.
Yeah, that shot is just as tame for Macey, as you say, Dan.
Yeah, we only saw 4 players come out different initially. When Macey slips, gets away with that one, just flicks it away from Morris. But more changes for Arsenal than we initially thought. This is Nelson, one of them. Xhaka. More changes afoot over the course of the second half, I'm sure. There's an awful lot of young talent coming through for the Gunners, and we may well see the likes of Tyrese John-Jules potentially making us another defender who's on the subs bench. Change for MK Dons, incidentally. Trying to come on is Matthew Sorinola. Bola. Xhaka. This is holding. Senior statesman all of a sudden in that back three. Morris all alone at the moment for MK Dons. Won't spin back towards Kasumu. Willock looks like he's playing right wing back. Tierney. Nelson wants it down the line. Bola, Tierney, good awareness. Nelson, Tierney once again, and Nketiah calling for it. It's back towards Nelson, who takes a touch, and again, just couldn't get it out from underneath his feet. Now it's with Tierney to drive one in.
Really good move from Arsenal, I've got to say. Bola there, as he receives the ball, all day long you're thinking he's going to go he's going to go wide with the pass, but he plays it into Tierney. That opens the space up for Nelson. Unfortunately, he just gets crowded out by lots of Don's defenders. No one on the end of that. Whip the ball across from Tierney.
Newington. He's the most recent substitute, Sorinola, to come forward. And there's a change here. Just 19 years old, yet to play for the first team. Played in the Football League Trophy last campaign. This is Kasumo. Kasumo unable to make progress, but the flag is up anyway here, and Arsenal get the decision. So 10 minutes after the restart, fairly disjointed given the changes that's to be expected, but at least these young players may have a full 45 minutes rather than just the final 5, 10 or 15, so hopefully we'll get some better play from both sides from here on in when the two teams have just felt each other out once again. It's almost like a reset. Arsenal always the more likely with a more cohesive play.
Well, I think we saw in the first half, you know, even for 10-15 minutes, Don's unsettled Arsenal, didn't they? And didn't let them get into their shape, but as soon as they did, the likes of Saka really got in comfortable, nice holes in between the lines, enabling Arsenal to develop. At the moment, it's a little bit tight as we see Reiss Nelson getting really tightly marked there, but he will find his space as the game goes on.
Sorinola in field for Britain. It's a free kick MK Dons' way. No real advantage, so the referee just pulling play back here as Mikel Arteta looks on. There's always usually one or two young players that are not let out on loan and they're taken away from academy squads or under 23 PL2 squads to play and get involved in the first team. The problem is there's less time for them to try and impress with a very short summer season of friendlies. Here is Nelson, who is with El Neni. The two of the young players on show might be bound for more loan spells.
I just wonder whether managers, though, will be reluctant, especially at top clubs, to let their fringe players go out on these loans at the moment, because, you know, the fixtures are going to be a little bit more condensed this year. It's especially for the achieving teams, and everyone's going to be wanting everybody available. So it might be that quite a few good players don't get the games that they want with their mother clubs, if you like. Don't get the game time, but that they are in and around the top pros all the time and could contribute to the side and get maybe 2 or 3 games, the likes of that man there, Emile Smith-Rowe.
Yeah, unlucky with injuries we've mentioned, but really impressed at Huddersfield in the Championship. And of course, given a go in the Premier League by Freddie Ljungberg, just when Mikel Arteta was about to take over. Started against Everton, came on a sub against Manchester City in December of last year. Short corner, whipped in towards Nketiah, flicked away.
Yeah, you're right, Danny. He had that little opportunity, didn't he? And he made the decision, obviously, after that, thinking I'm probably not going to get as much game time, looking at the abundance of midfield players. But for the players that stuck around, there were benefits to be had, because towards the end of the season, what with the struggling performances and injuries, quite a lot of the young lads got a lot of game time. So he's come back, and I reckon he's thought, you know, I'm going to give it a good crack this season. And the manager's obviously had a chat with him. I think he signed a new contract as well. So happy days for him.
Here's Nichols, regular keeper last season. Barnard underneath it, wins the aerial duel. It'll spin to the left-hand side though. Harvey looks to try and keep it in, but can't. Arsenal have possession once again. Here is Holding. Bola. Nelson. Flag stays down, but Nichols has come a long way, much more definitive from the keeper. Bounces up, hits Tierney on his chest.
And Nichols out nice and quickly there to clear it. And when And Reiss Nelson saw him coming. He didn't fancy a 50-50 or even a 60-40 with him, so it was the end of that. But it was a good run, really good run and turn and spin from Reiss Nelson there. He bided his time well, and Bowler got a decent ball in the channel. Just didn't fancy that challenge, did he? You could see that he's thinking there's a big foot coming my way. Good decision by the Milton Keynes keeper.
Yeah, they say not pre-season MK Dons away, you don't go for those. Maybe cup final you might. Nice down the line, the substitute Sorinola is beaten to it, but it ricochets out. MK Dons will take the throw. Just wanted to take it quickly, eventually just plays it back towards Regan Poole.
I've got to say, Dan, I'll go for them challenges in walking football now, even though I play in the over 50s, so I don't know what you're on about. Maybe it's just me.
That does not surprise me at all. I don't think you'd survive in the modern game, David. Here he's learned to. Well, you won't play that often, you'd be suspended.
Yeah, I'd probably earn all my money would be paid out in fines.
Ballard to clear. As we mentioned, Liverpool at the weekend, Fulham, of course, in a fortnight's time, were just over. First game of the season, then West Ham, then Liverpool away, Sheffield United at home, City away from home. It's a tough opening few games for the Gunners. Meanwhile, we're going to see more changes here. If it is the cavalry, it's a young one. So here they come for the Gunners. Let's see who's going to come on. You can see there on the left-hand side, Tyrese John-Jules. We're also going to see Ben Cottrell. You can see Miguel Aziz about to come on as well. Likewise, James Olayinka. Players to come off, the likes of Nketiah and El Neni, we've seen replaced. Two goal scorers have lasted an hour here for the Gunners. And it's Granit Xhaka, one of the last to come off as John-Jules comes on. Again, an opportunity for these players. An awful lot were out on loan last season. The likes of Olayinka was out at Northampton and John-Jules played at Lincoln. So we'll see what they can do. We have a very youthful Arsenal side for the last half an hour. And if you're an MK Dons player and you've got a bit of experience about you, you don't want to be embarrassed by the youngsters here. Oh, that's good play. Real opportunity here, but the pullback not quite good enough.
It's unusually Danny Ballard there, losing that in a 50-50 tackle. Normally the solid central defender, but early opportunity for MK Dons to make an impression on this very young Arsenal side, as you say. But I think the Arsenal youngsters will push on now, kick on in the game. I believe they probably played a lot more times together like this than the team previously we watched for the first 50-55 minutes. You know, they probably have more game time, more understanding of each other.
Yeah, that is very true. They'll have come through the ranks, 18s and 23s, or not even 23s for some of them, but they'll know each other's game. And sometimes when you get half and half teams, you're absolutely right, it doesn't do a team any real favours. Obviously there's still the quality there, but they'll be well versed in how each other play for the most part. But MK Dons will want to try and take advantage, and it has got the feeling of a EFL Trophy fixture now. And we've seen in recent years, since the academy sides were allowed in that competition, just how the League One and League Two teams react, because they do not want to get beat by the likes of the academies. We haven't seen an under-23 academy side get through to the final of that competition just yet, but Chelsea went close a few years ago. Arsenal are involved in it, or have been in the past. And some of these players have played in it, and suddenly, 17, 18, 19, you're playing up against some tough professionals and experienced professionals from the lower leagues, and it can be a case of sink or swim, fight or flight. Most of the time the youngsters stand up well. Here is Aziz.
Yeah, I think it's all about physical maturity as well, isn't it, Dan? Because I remember being a young player, and I could have been slightly bigger than the player I was playing against, but if he had like sort of 5 or 6 years experience than me, when I was 16, 17 and 18 playing against him as a 23-year-old, it was a boy against a man, and you felt that as you went out. But you get to a stage when you feel like you've grown into that person and you've become that. As I said, Bukayo Saka, I've seen that in him this season. I've seen him make that change. I've been kind of waiting for Nketiah to do it, and he's doing it now. He's becoming more of like a man up front, and like we've seen these boys playing the Youth Cup over the last few years, and we've seen them grow. And looking at them now, a lot of them look physically stronger, but when you do look at the Dons players, you know they're a team that fight and battle, and there are a lot of strong physical players. So the physical maturity does make a difference.
Yeah, we've seen that there as well, with Harvey involved and Smith Rowe. Got us knocked out of the FA Youth Cup last season by Blackburn, incidentally, to knockout rounds. Really covered themselves in glory in the southern section of the under-18 league, having close to winning it the year before. They were only denied a place in the UEFA Youth League by a very good Derby side. Let's see what the young Gunners can do here. This is Cottrell on the left-hand side. Reece Nelson, senior member all of a sudden now. Ballard forward. Aziz demands the ball, always looks very good on it. He's got an eye for the quick pass and move, has the Arsenal midfielder. And that's good movement on the right-hand side as well. Harish John Jules waiting for it inside the penalty area. Should be cleared away by MK Dons. Morris is on the move. Ballard is across, looking to try and take him on. He's got a bit of help here. Saranola over on the right-hand side if spotted, but not yet. This is Lewington.
Arsenal straight back on shape as well. Look, 4-5-1 they've gone back to really quickly, stopping the Dons break there. But it was Ballard did well. He stood up, didn't commit himself into a challenge, waited until he had cover, and then forced the Dons back.
So Mikel Arteta gets a good look at these young players. He will have seen them obviously in training, but maybe not close up in a contest such as this. We'll get reports from his coaching staff, of course. Now, MK Dons are bringing on a number of subs. How many have we got there? 7 potentially. Everyone's going to get a go, and why not? Midway point of this second half. Can't tell you who the 17 is, unfortunately. He is on trial at MK Dons, so
it's not Georgie Weir's cousin, is it?
We'll know exactly who he is, and we will see what he's capable of. He's a ringer. Yeah.
There's so many, Dan. I don't think you'd even fit him on my friend Nancy Wright's new curved Samsung telly. There's so many subs coming on there.
Here they come then, so many, and we can name a number of them as they come on. Jay Bird, who's had a torrid time with injuries, is coming on. He's scored in pre-season already. Looks like we're going to see Josh Bailey as well, maybe Tali Jallo. Who else can we see? Iran Boateng, who is a player who was a regular towards the end of the season, signed from Exeter after a couple of seasons in the southwest. John Freeman's going to come on as well. Jay Bird certainly scored against Coventry in the 3-2 defeat here. So MK Dons make the changes. Meanwhile, Mikel Arteta is still giving instructions and what he wants from the players tactically from the remaining quarter. This has been, as we mentioned in the first half, a real feature of Mikel Arteta. Yes, we see other coaches do it as well, but it just seems he can affect the play and affect the game.
I'm looking at the
more.
players, though. I'm not looking at him when he's doing that. I'm looking at the players and how they're focused on him. And the one or two of them maybe have their eyes down, you know, and I wonder whether he picks up on that, whether he thinks people, you know, because he wants to have the right mindset, the right attitude. But certainly all them young lads there in that group, no eyes down from any of them, all concentrating on the manager, what he's telling them to do. Because ultimately, you do what the manager says, you do it well, you get in the team. I mean, I know a bloke that made a career out of that, Dan.
And still going strong. Throwing to Arsenal when we restart, then we've got 22 minutes remaining. Gunners lead by 2-1. We haven't seen any addition to the score since half-time. And when we still saw some senior players on for the second half, I thought, well, sure, we'll get a few more goals. Maybe we still will.
Yeah, we didn't get the route we expected in the first half from the likes of Bakayo, Oba and Eddie up front, but you know, you've got to give credit to the MK at the back. They've worked hard. I've got to be honest with you, Dean Lewington has just, he's been so comfortable all game, you know, and he was being such a strong player for the side. I thought when he came off, maybe they'd shrink a little bit, but no, they've stayed the same, stayed strong at the back. So that decent side. It's a shame that they finished so low in the league last year.
Well, as Nichols cleared, was he caught there by John Jules, maybe? Let's have a look. Just a bit awkward, really, wasn't it? I don't think it was a foul.
Yeah, I think referees sometimes give them as fouls, but really it's the player kicking the ball. You know, it's his follow-through that kicks the player that's just running across his path. We see it with Aubameyang a lot when he's closing down central defenders. He runs across them. He doesn't really make a challenge or do anything, but their follow-through goes into him. They get the free kick. Similar there with Nichols. But at least he did the right thing and didn't try and pass it into his midfield.
He's learned his lesson. Aziz. Ballard.
That's a great pass if he meant it from Ballard. I can't see it. I think he went to hook it.
McGuinness, I beg your pardon, wasn't that made it towards Ballard. McGuinness is on as well. McGuinness the 27 and Ballard 20, so that back line now, all academy players who played for the under-18s and the under-23s last season. McGuinness is the middle of the trio with Ballard on the right-hand side.
They do look very similar as well, don't they? Both tall, blonde, fair-haired and that, and similar in style as well, both physical. Dominant in the air.
MK Dons to come forwards here. Can they grab a leveller? Boateng does well initially. Freeman, another academy product. Over towards Poole, will just about keep it in play. Turned back by Jallow. And then Freeman runs into trouble. Arsenal have it again. Smith Rowe unable to take the pace off it to control it, and it's all the way back to Nichols once more.
Yeah, you kind of get the feeling with this Dons side that they fancy themselves in the game now, because they're all the Arsenal youngsters on. They're taking a few more chances across the midfield, getting a bit more possession. Arsenal need to get a few touches on the ball, Dan, get like 7 or 8 passes at least every time they're in possession of the ball, just to gain a bit of confidence.
Yeah, that's something we haven't seen really, isn't it? And
yeah,
try and get the youngsters a bit more comfortable with the ball at their feet. I mean, credit MK Dons for not allowing that to happen, but that's exactly right. Not being given any sort of opportunity, not being able to try and kickstart a bit of rhythm here. They've been good in terms of scrapping and battling and winning the ball back, but they're not putting their passes together at the moment.
Yeah, and I think you can also be a victim of the large substitution where you come on with 5 or 6 other players and you want to make a difference when you come on when you're a sub. You know, you want to change the game, you want to play well. So instead of building your way into the game, you try and have an impact. Most subs that come on are brought on as an impact, but when you're bringing 5 or 6 at wholesale change, you can't really do that, and the game gets a bit erratic. Good run there from Smith Rowe to the right channel.
Overhit, but makes the run nonetheless. There was a lot of suggestion that he was the closest that Arsenal got to an Aaron Ramsey type character of a midfielder that breaks into the box late on, and it's maybe something that Arsenal haven't got at the moment.
Yeah, I think where he's not like Aaron Ramsey is in his mobile, short passing game in between the lines, in that number 10 area. And he, although he makes those runs, he does make them wider. Ramsey would often support Giroud, wouldn't he, and be that man that run off him, that picked up the pass from Ozil when Giroud was distracting defenders.
Nelson, a heavy touch, better from Freeman. And now MK Dons can come forward once again. Arsenal backpedaling here, the space over on the left-hand side. What can MK do? Jallow steps away from one challenge, but then runs into trouble. Still, MK Dons have possession. It's over on the left-hand side. Here comes Freeman to try and get the cross in, and it's Macy that just prevents the ball from going behind for a corner.
Yeah, they're trying to play good football. They're working it really well. Good little triangles. So I said, looking a bit more confident now. Now they're playing against the group of youngsters, but don't underestimate them.
Cottrell does well. Looks to find Reece Nelson. John Jules is on the move. Smith Rowe, edge of the penalty area. Tyrese John Jules with a shimmy and a shuffle. What about the shots? Saved by Nichols, and it spins away for a corner to Arsenal.
Yeah, it's a good save from Nichols, but I can't help thinking John Jules didn't hit that clean enough. I don't think he's happy with it. It's a good bit of skill, stands the defender up, takes him on, cuts inside, gets enough of a whip on it, but I think he wanted to score that, and he expected to score that.
Last appearance for Lincoln, incidentally, was against MK Dons back in February in a 1-1 home draw. Just the one goal coming against Blackpool back in January in his loan spell, but prolific for the junior sides at Arsenal. Corner here. Oh, and the header brilliantly diverted in by McGuinness. That's wonderful.
Bang! That was a great header, wasn't it? He's used all his neck power on it. It's a good delivery. It's a good delivery, but the two Arsenal centre-halves were just standing off of the MK defenders, and I thought, why they'd been given so much room. Look, he had loads of room, but listen, he's done all the work with that. Great power. Look at that, generated with his neck. Decent bit on the whip in, but he's done it all himself. Great header.
Wonderful header from McGuinness, who gets on the score sheet, having come on as a substitute in this second half. Mikel Arteta would have been impressed about that, maybe.
Well, I think if you look at some of the corners we've had in the recent games after the restart, it's been a lot of Ceballos whipping them balls into that area for Mustafi to try and get in. So, you know, it's that sort of pulling off of the guy who's blocking the near post area from a defensive point of view and getting that header in, and he got that one time perfect.
Bullet header. Nichols had no chance. Here's Nichols again. Oh, just about threads it through to find a teammate. He's taken a chance or two in this game. He's not got away with it on every single occasion, as we know.
Trouble is, Dan, it don't matter how many times you get it right. You've only got to get it wrong once, and it can cost you. And he did that, didn't he, right at the start of the game? But fair play to him. He's still trying to play the way his manager wants. Again, we see a pass straight down the middle.
Just on the set pieces, incidentally, Andreas Georgian, of course, has come to Arsenal from Brentford, the set piece coach, one that has very much impressed Arteta. So he's a new signing as well for the Gunners. So maybe expect something different from Arsenal when it comes to set pieces over the course of the 2021 campaign. It was a little lacking, shall we say, under Arsene Wenger all those years ago for a long time.
Yeah, and I don't think people or players want extravagant manoeuvres as set pieces, or you know difficult plays. They just need to be direct, sharp, and dynamic, and we just never had that from set pieces.
Okay, Don's looking to be dynamic here, but the shot is charged down. Boateng letting fly with a left boot. Well, just a dozen minutes remaining here in Milton Keynes, and the Dons trail by 3-1. It's been a good workout for both sides. Their league campaigns kicking off in just over a fortnight's time. A League Cup fixture for against Coventry for MK Dons ahead of that, and an EFL Trophy game shortly after that as well. They're thrust into cup competition as well as league games, and the League Cup comes up very quickly for those sides involved early. Oh, Matt Macy outside of his penalty area slips, checks the boots, the blades.
Yeah, got away with that one, didn't he? He was well covered by Bowler, though. Defender, look, straight away notices the mistake, gets inside his goalkeeper. Just lost his foot in there, Macy.
On the bench for a long time. Macy takes another chance here, a little bit late trying to clear it. It could have ricocheted anywhere, but it went out for a goal kick.
Yeah, he's just caught on the hop, wasn't he, after that little mistake there, slipping over his first touch, and he had his head up. Look, he wasn't really looking. He should have just got that straight across his body, 40 yards up the pitch.
More Route 1 this time around. Buller. Again, it's the goal scorer. Stepping out of trouble was Olayinka, but MK Dons have it back. This is Poole. Kasumu. Called over to the left-hand side by Davis. He continues his run here. Oh, the touch. Nice idea, just got a bit too much on it.
Yeah, for some reason, Arsenal's central midfielders dropped right back into they tracked runners, went into the back four, left a little space in the middle for the Dons to exploit, but it was the touch at the end, wasn't it? Just needed to be better.
Well, driving on, that was well read. Now then, can he pick the pass? And Jules has got Reece Nelson over on the left-hand side. Willock wants to take over here. Driving through the MK Dons defence wasn't the best idea. Should be kept in play. Team number 20's going head-to-head here. Joe Mason, who's got a bit more experience, certainly, than Daniel Ballard. Mason, who signed again this season, having played 13 times last campaign. Lots of Plymouth, Cardiff and Wolves, had a spell out in Major League Soccer with the Colorado Rapids. A bit more experience than most. Haven't really seen too much of him just yet since coming on. Here is Poole, who's stayed on for the entirety. And again.
Yeah, I'm enjoying a little bit of possession now, Dons, but there needs to be an end product to their game. What they need to work it into a corner, get a few runners in the box. But it hasn't really been a game of crosses and attempts from headers, although two of the goals have probably been two of the best headers I've seen for quite a while.
There's no doubt about that. Both at the same end. Freeman to knock it in field. And MK Dons will come forward once again.
Arsenal not really closing down as a team now. Smith Rowe doing a bit on his own there, weren't really getting much help from Aziz in the middle. Just a little bit disappointed. Arsenal just haven't worked the ball more through the midfield. I would have liked to have seen Aziz get on the ball more. But you've got to credit Dons because they've been putting the pressure on, and as I said, since them wholesale changes, I think they fancied themselves down and just stepped it up a bit, and they look like a proper League One side, don't they, against a younger sort of Premier League outfit.
Ambitious to this right-hand side, and Jay Bird, can he keep it in play? Looks to get beyond Cottrell, who spins and wins it well. Bowler and Olayinka can't quite combine as Kasumu makes the interception. MK Dons mentioned start their league campaign against Doncaster, then Lincoln Crew, Ipswich over the first 4 games of the campaign, then they run into Portsmouth, who were knocked out of the playoffs when football resumed at that level. So a fairly tough start to the season for MK Dons. The fixture the fans usually look for against Wimbledon late on in October.
Just squeezing Arsenal back. It's at times like this, it's just, just got to be maybe a chest and a volley, get the ball 30-40 yards up the pitch and move on. Maybe that's what Cottrell was trying to draw out of it then. Done well since he's come on, Ben Cottrell. Tidy little
good,
player. Yeah, I mean, he looks the youngest player on the pitch by a mile. He looks like a 16-year-old, but he's played. He's played as good as anybody and stood out. He's been confident on the ball. And what I like about him is his defensive awareness. He's always looking over his shoulder. He knows where the winger is.
Yeah, positioning has been excellent, and he's looked to try and join in the attacks as well. He's under a little bit of pressure here as Poole will come forward. Taken high on the chest of Bird. It's a good battle on this right-hand side. Low ball in. Macy collects. Good running here from the Gunners. Goki looking to get forward into advanced position. There was no one really close to John Jules. Now there are more red and white striped shirts coming forward. Nelson, all his own work at the minute. Referee gives the penalty, does he? Is it a free kick on the edge of the area? Well, here's an opportunity just inside the box.
Yep, that's a pen. He's given it. And I kind of think, not that he didn't have it under control, but the ball was just running away from Reiss Nelson a little bit, wasn't it? But he was direct. He was sort of going at the Dons defenders, and he's been clipped, and it's resulted in a penalty.
Penalty awarded. Reiss Nelson is going to take. Nichols the keeper. And this to put a little bit of polish on the scoreline. 4-1 always sounds that much better. Arsenal winger steps up. Nelson to make it 4, sends the keeper the wrong way, and the Gunners extend their advantage with 5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, it's a good confident penalty, isn't it? He's stepped up straight away. There was no question of who was going to take that penalty. And he just slots it into the bottom left-hand corner as he looks it. Keeper's right. This is him driving through.
Let's have a look at the foul again. It's the trialist that brings him down. He's not impressing.
No, Georgie Weir's cousin commits the foul. Yeah, it's a good pen though. It's confident. He's waiting for the keeper to move, and it looks like that was his last contribution.
That's your reward for grabbing the 4th. Here comes, could well be the final change. George Lewis, who's an interesting player. He's signed from Norwegian football, born in Rwanda, and something of a left field capture by Arsenal. Impressed on trial by all accounts, and the Gunners have taken a bit of a flyer with him. It's on the books of Tromsø in Norway, also played for Fram as well before coming to England, trialling at various clubs, and Arsenal deciding to pick him up. 20 years old, midfielder. We'll see how he slots in for the final few minutes here.
It's a big miss on if he's a 20-year-old and he's not been picked up, isn't it? There'll be some scouts out there that will be
a lot of
losing their jobs.
Yeah.
If someone like that gets through the net.
It's very unusual, and there's been much talk about that he's not really been picked up by anybody. But you never know, as we highlighted before, there are late developers.
Absolutely, Dan, and I think you've got to understand as well, 6 months of playing outstanding at one level, you get noticed. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. I remember Franny Jeffers when he got on the scene, and he had sort of like a fantastic season, 6 months, and then Arsenal snapped him up, and it never really happened for him after that. But what a player, all based on a couple of years or a couple of seasons of doing okay, and then 6 months of doing really well. All of a sudden you're in the limelight. But to get them from when they haven't even been picked up as a youngster, that is very unusual.
Final 2.5 minutes then at MK Stadium, and it's Arsenal that lead by 4-1. A bit of polish on the scoreline here with a wonderful header from McGuinness and a well-taken penalty from Reiss Nelson. Let's see what MK Dons can do. Can they get a second themselves? They haven't scored one via the usual method, of course, holding his own goal. He's given them their strike. 3 waiting in and around the box here. The cross isn't forthcoming at the moment. It's recycled by MK Dons. This is ball on the right-hand side. Stayed on throughout. Jallow. Freeman. Boateng slides in, wins it eventually. Just about to pull the trigger, gets taken away from him.
Great header there, was it? At the end of that for Dons. Jay Bird not really aware of what was around him. Gifted possession back to Arsenal when they had a decent little period then. They seemed to be reluctant to deliver into the box though, Dan, didn't they?
Seemed to be the case. It's just that decision making, isn't it, sometimes? Macy across his body. Arsenal will start again. Can't imagine whether we that many minutes of added on time, if any, given the circumstances of the game and the changes that we've had. But you never know.
Well, we didn't see any in the first half, and normally it's 30 seconds a sub, so that means we're going to have about 40 minutes of time added on. But yeah, I think you're right, Dan. I think the referee will probably be sensible, played a sensible card.
Nichols to the far side. Mason had made a run, but ignored to the trialist at the back, who conceded the penalty after upending Reiss Nelson. Here he is once more. Quick check of the watch from our referee here, Dean Whitestone. Good movement from Boating again, who looks to get forward on the left-hand side. He's looked good since coming on, that's for certain. Jallow waits inside the penalty area. Sure that Mr. Martin will have learned quite a bit about a number of his players. There is the full-time whistle on the 90. Arsenal have beaten MK Dons by 4-1. Mikel Arteta will be pleased. There was food for thought with the younger players coming on, so Martin will know a little bit more about his academy products as well. The Gunners racing to a 2-goal lead before being pegged back, and then Mark McGuinness there scoring a wonderful header for 3-1 before Reiss Nelson grabbed the late penalty. And all in all, David, a good workout from an Arsenal point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good workout. I think it's a fair result. A little bit disappointing for Dons, because I think they performed better than that. They was a nice side to watch. They didn't play ugly football. They've got definitely a good football ethic here. But it was nice to see all the young lads. Just a shame that when they came on in the second half, we didn't see as much of one or two of them as I'd like. Aziz, I'd like to have seen more in the midfield. But credit to Dons for turning up the pressure second half. But good game, all being said.
Professional display from the Gunners by and large. The first teamers took centre stage in the first half, and the youngsters finished the job off in the second period. And there were some good cameos from the likes of Emile Smith-Rowe and co. And I'm sure that we'll see a number of the youngsters force their way into the first team picture from an Arsenal point of view. Comfortable in the end, as the scoreline suggests. It's finished here in Milton Keynes. Milton Keynes Dons 1, Arsenal 4.